You're now inside the mind of an entrepreneur with our very own Dwayne Martin.
All right, I want to thank you for tuning in to Inside the Mind of an Entrepreneur. I'm your host, the only one, Dwayne Martin. Today I'm going to be talking about basically the title, Words of Wisdom. The reason why I chose that title, Words of Wisdom, is not only because I kind of didn't like the word that I used, but I wanted to put words of experience. I don't necessarily, I guess you could say, put myself on a pedestal and say that I have so much wisdom, but it's mostly the experience that I have through the things that I've done and been through. Everybody's different. Honestly, you can't really look at someone and tell what they've been through. So I want to use my experience to, I guess, help someone out there, to help you. One thing that I always like to say, it's my number one thing that I like to say because I have a pet peeve, and one of my pet peeves is the word try. So I have on my shirts, and I tell if anyone who knows me, what I say a lot is don't try, do. It's a big thing for me. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me because of I guess you could say, really the experiences that, throughout my lifetime, my little bit of life that I lived here on earth so far. I say don't try, do. Because a lot of people, most of the time, they'll say I'm trying to do so. When I was talking to someone today, and he told me that someone said they tried to call him, but they didn't because they had so many things that they had to do. But then you didn't try to call him. You didn't call him. You understand? People use the word try a little bit too much. When you do something, you you do it. So, all right, with that said, try, the definition of try is to make an attempt. Now, to make an attempt doesn't mean you do it. You made an attempt. That's, I will, I guess you can say, commend you for making an attempt. But if you do, which do means to achieve or complete, if you do it, you complete it. So if the person who called this guy, well, he said he tried, so he attempted, but he didn't because he had so much he had to do. But if he would have just done it, it would have been completed. Like I always tell people, it depends on what you say and how you say things. So if you say that you tried to do, X, Y, and Z, that that word trying is really not going to help you to actually do something, to complete something. So I'm not a fan of the word try at all. I really feel if you want to be successful in life, you won't necessarily just try, you will do it. Keep telling yourself do, and you will do it. Keep telling yourself try. That's all you're going to keep doing is trying. To me, it try is basically a negative word. I know some people will say, well, at least because try means to attempt. At least they attempted it, they attempted it. But stop attempting it and just complete it. So if you think about it that way, don't try, do. Let's look at the definitions. Don't attempt, complete it. So don't try, do. Don't attempt, complete. So when you put it that way, I'm sure it there is more of a positive you get out of it when you say that. Me, throughout my experiences growing up, a lot of times I would try, and when you just try and you keep trying, most of the time you just you get sick of trying. When you do something, you mostly put your all in it, and like it says, do means to complete. Now, with that said, another phrase that I like to say is, and this goes hand in hand with don't try, do, but trying consists of failure. Try, like I said, is a negative word. Trying consists of failure. Failure is the lack of success. That's the definition of failure. So let's use these words, these definitions that I came up, that I brought to your attention. Try to attempt. So trying consists of failure. So to attempt it basically is the lack of success. But to do is to complete it. You understand what I'm saying? You can see the difference in the two words. You can see the difference between try, you can see the difference between two, and you can see how failure and try go hand in hand. They'll say a lot of times where, what was it? They'll say keep trying until you complete it. And I do understand that, but if you keep doing until you complete it, to me that makes more sense because it's more of a positive thing. Most of the time, and I spoke with someone on this. We had like a deep conversation on this. But you have a negative and you have a positive. Now, I could only imagine, and I would think a lot of people do have negative people in their life. They have positive people in their life. Now, if you notice, suppose you're here, you're this positive person. You have the negative that comes your way. At least with me, the negative ends up becoming overwhelming. I feel negative is a stronger force and a stronger being to the point where it can actually take over and destroy the positive. And I'm not trying to say that in a negative way. And I'm just talking to me, I feel that way because when I have negative people that especially that are friends or anything like that, and they start really involving themselves with me and just being in my life more than, I guess you could say, more than usual, their negative becomes overwhelming. And it gets to the point where I'm like, I have to take a step back and basically push them away because to get in this positive mindset that at least I feel I'm in, it took me 9 months to a year. And it's negative. I don't care what anybody says, that negative could really destroy that 9 months to a year that I used to build up. It's to me, it's easier for the negative to overcome and overpower because if you just look in the news, you look around, everything is completely negative. There's a lot of negative out here in the world, and there's not enough positive. So for me, I don't watch the news. I don't involve myself in anything that's negative or could bring negative my way. But if you think about it on the other end, when you have a negative and the positive is trying to overwhelm it just, to me, it doesn't necessarily really happen. Negative is negative, and sometimes you yourself can't change it. But and vice versa, if it's the other way around, it's negative, it can change you. I feel like negative is a stronger being, and positive, I believe they're strong in their own way. But I'll be completely honest, I believe that negative can destroy positive. And I mean, and if anybody wants to call me out on that, you can call me out on that. you do you on that end. But and I honestly, if anybody wants to call me out on anything, all you have to do is write a comment. You can even email. You can do whatever you need to do, and I'll make sure that I'll come on live, and then I'll talk about it, and I'll explain the whole situation, what I mean, and how I feel it affects me, and then maybe we could even do an interview, and we can talk about it. We can have a friendly candor, and just basically you can see my view on it, and I can see yours. I'm always open for discussion. It doesn't necessarily have to be uh, uh, a person to that I interview of my choice. It could be someone who just involves themselves in the podcast because that's what this is really about for people to involve themselves. But as I said before, trying consists of failure. Now, one of the big I'm a big believer. Failure is the lack of success. Failure is failure. Failure when you fail, you can get back up. But that's another to me, that's another word when you hear fail forward. Now, fail forward is powerful. That's strong. To fail forward, if you look at the definition, failure is the lack of success. Forward is to fail forward. Forward is to it's in the direction that one is facing. So fail forward, right? Fail is the lack of success. Forward is in the direction one is facing. So you're gonna fail the lack of success, but you're gonna fail forward. So you're gonna fail and you're gonna keep going forward in that particular direction. So you're moving forward to fail and to just completely stop, to not fail forward, that's just to being one spot and not go anywhere. But when you fail forward, there's upward movement in that. And there's also there's a learning experience in that. You what you learn is basically wisdom. You know not to do something. It's basically like, all right, I'm gonna use something example, and it's gonna be a basic example of a kid. Your parents always tell you don't touch a stove. Touch a stove, burn yourself, you failed. That hurt, ow, you're crying, whatever you're doing. Forward, fail forward, you know not to touch that stove again. And you won't touch it again. Why? Because it'll burn you. So that's to me, that's wisdom. You learn something, and this is just something basic that I'm talking about. I'm gonna use something more, I guess you could say complicated, or use it in something more in an entrepreneur mindset of a different endeavor or something that you're going through throughout your journey or anything like that. So, all right. So another one for fail forward, like this podcast. I mentioned to you guys before. I started the podcast. I don't even remember how long ago. I think it was like 7 years ago. Five, seven. No, it can't be 5 years ago. 7 years ago. It's been so long. Time just flies. But tried it the first time, failed. All right. Picked myself up. Basically, I failed and I stopped with it. But then after that, I went at it again. So I went forward. I failed forward. It was a slight, it took me like 2 years. So for that 2 years, we still had a little upward movement. It was a forward. Tried it again. Trying consists of failure. So what I do, I failed. I hit the floor again. Little upward movement, but instead of 2 years, ended up being like 4 or 5 years, 4 years. So 4 years go by, I still have that little upward movement. It's not as high as the previous time, but and here I am now. I'm actually I'm actually live. I'm actually doing something. I'm actually getting views. I'm actually consistent. And this is completely hard for me. I'll be completely honest with you because for me, doing a podcast, I don't even I don't like my voice. I don't like pictures. I don't like videos. So this is hard for me, but at the same time, it comes easy and natural to me. This is not something that I normally do, but I love to help people and I do love to express myself. I believe all podcasters, well, not unfortunately, but they love to talk. So they can just keep going, 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 going. They just got to make sure they don't rant about every and anything. So I'm here doing the podcast and I've failed forward for 6 years and I'm 7 years. And it just took a really long time. But here I am and I've learned. I learned from my experiences. I've learned don't try, do, because every time I say I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna try it. And when I tried it, I just kept failing. But I was failing forward and I didn't really notice it. So I would try, then I would do. Then I would try, and then I would do. I didn't really know what don't try, do really meant, until I truly knew the definition and I experienced it. And then when I did that, I realized that trying consists of failure. This is how I came up with you know, these words that I like to say. These are like my go-to whenever I hear anybody say try. So and I've learned that and I've truly found out what it meant to fail forward at that point because I learned about the don't try, do, and how trying consists of failure. So fail forward meant even more to me. These are not just words. I want people to realize that too. To an I'm going to say to an entrepreneur, also to anybody. It's really not even to an entrepreneur, but to anybody who has experience and that's been down that road, they understand that words are powerful. I know you a lot of times as a kid you would hear sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's kind of to me that's kind of wrong. I don't even know why that's a thing. Sticks and stones can hurt you. Anything can hurt you. But if you have a strong mindset, it really doesn't matter. You can get through it. And like I say, you can learn these things through words of wisdom, which is the title. And words are powerful. So it's when you see those shows that where people they have these powers, I feel like people actually do have powers and they have powers through the knowledge that they have and the words that were that they've been, I guess you could say, that has taken over them because don't try, do, consistent of failure, fail forward. Those words have consumed me and they have become a part of me and I believe has helped me become the person that I am today. I would never have become the person that I am today if I didn't go through the experiences that I've been through and heard those words. They they mean everything to me. And there's more words, more things that I will tell you guys, more phrases, stuff like that, comments that I do say that helps me get through life and helps me become successful. But I want people to learn through this episode. Don't just take certain things people tell you for granted. I love talking to anyone who's people that are younger to or my age, but those who are, I guess you could say, seniors. I love talking to them because they've been through it. Even when I was in the military, I would talk to the retired colonels all the time, the retired first sergeant. They have a lot of knowledge and they're trying to give you that knowledge. They want you to be the great ones, want you to be great too. You have to understand that not everybody wants, when they have power and they have knowledge, not everyone wants to keep that within them. They want to share it because at the end of the day, especially when you're a certain age, you're getting older, you're you won't be on this earth. So you want to share your power, you want to share your knowledge. Like I said, I'm always going to say power when it comes to knowledge, especially because that's basically what it is. And people have to understand that knowledge is power. Think about that. Knowledge is power. Don't just hear these things. You have to really listen to them. Listen to them and think about them. What I try to do with you guys is I try to break things down. When I say try, don't try, do, I broke it down to you with what try meant and what do meant. And then why these two are basically complete opposites, and why you shouldn't say try, and why it is related to basically it's, I guess you could say it's on the dark side, the negative side. I try to break down everything to you guys. Use these words, listen to them. Like truly listen to them, apply them to your life, apply them to your experiences. And then you'll truly see why you may have not succeeded in whatever you were trying to do. So trying, like I said, attempting. So whatever you are attempting to do. And when I say do, to complete. So anything you are attempting to complete. Look at that stuff. Apply it to your life. This is basically like what I did after I came home from my deployment. I listened to motivational speeches to really open up my mind. I used it to brainwash me, quote unquote, brainwash me. And that was what I was telling myself. Because there's so much out there in the world, all the negative that's brainwashing you. Why not use positive? So I started to figure things out for myself through listening to stuff like that. And then that's when it escalated, and it brought me to don't try, do, try and consist of failure. It brought me to all of that. I know a lot of these things that I may talk about seems little, it may seem like it's nothing, but as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a human being, someone that has gone through the things that they have gone through, the different experiences they've gone through, and being able to take a step back and look at myself, what I'm doing, where I want to be, I've realized that I need to focus on those words. And I really feel you should focus on them as well. Everybody should focus on them. This episode, like I said, is about you just taking the time. Every episode I have is about you taking the time to take a step back and really analyze yourself and the situation that you're in and the situation you want to be in. I don't do these episodes I do it for me as well because I want to share the knowledge that I do have. But I do it for others because if you take a look at a lot of people out here, it's some people are just confused. I feel like a lot of people are confused. Priorities are confused. That's another reason why a lot of times trying happens with people. They just try. That's all they ever do in life. Sometimes you'll see some people they're just trying in life. You you only live one life. I always say for all I know because I don't necessarily know. But with what I see, you only live once, and eventually you will cease to exist. I'm gonna live, like they say, my best life. And what is my best life? My best life. My best life is doing what I want to do, not trying what I want to do. It's doing what I want to do. With that said, I always do this. You guys see that little scrolling website at the bottom? You guys could go on www.insidethemindofan entrepreneur. You guys can get a shirt. We have these shirts there. We have the sweaters. We also have the crop tops. We go through the same spiel every time, every episode. So I'm not gonna throw out all that. We got the mugs. I'm gonna start putting some more on there. I'm gonna start revamping the website up a little bit. I'm gonna start doing stuff where I'm gonna make it so others could be engaging on the website as well. And at the same time, not just be engaging, but I'm gonna make it whereas you guys can, if you want to get on and like we actually talk, we can do that. We can do it through, we can do it through the podcast, or we could just do it. We can do it through a blog because I'll start blogging as well. I wanna. This is not just about me. It's about you, and it's kind of like we're helping one another out as well because when you guys interact, you help me open up my mind as well. I don't know everything, and I'll never say I do it. I know everything, so I'm always welcoming, questions and people challenging whatever I have to say. I mean, that's life, right? I mean, things just get thrown at you left and right. You just gotta take it. Like I said, with fear, I'm not afraid of anything. I'll take on anything, and I love candors. I love anything that's just gonna make me stronger and smarter. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Inside the Mind of an Entrepreneur. You can you can email as well at Dwayne at insidethemindofan entrepreneur.com. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed what it's like to be inside the mind of an entrepreneur. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Inside the Mind of an Entrepreneur.